How you doing, ladies and gentlemen? When our furry companions face a life or death emergency, there is a team of unsung heroes ready to jump into action. And today we're pulling back the curtain on what really happens behind those emergency vet doors. Meet Heather, a passionate, dedicated, and highly skilled veterinary assistant who lives and breathes animal care. From late night emergencies to heartwarming recoveries, Heather's journey is filled with grit, compassion, and a deep love for the animals she serves. Ladies and gentlemen, Heather, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks. I was really excited when you agreed to come on to the show, and I think this is really cool because highlighting the heroes in the veterinary world is something that I've been really passionate about and really looking forward to highlighting to the world and to all those who just really need to understand what we do. Yeah. But tell me a little bit about yourself.
Well, I've been working as a veterinary assistant since I was 17. So it's been my only career. And then so it's been 23-ish years.
Wow.
With the majority of that time in emergency and critical care specifically.
Okay.
So ICU, just like with people, ventilators, tabletop cases, something that we call the tree of life, where you've got a million syringe pumps.
Yeah.
You're just doing your best to get that pet home to its family.
Yeah. Oh man, have so much admiration for you and your work and what you do. What inspired your love for animals?
I've loved animals ever since I can remember, and I'm a nerdy nerd, so math, science, medicine has always interested me, and people are gross, so it seemed like the natural way to go for me.
Yeah. Was there like a animal in your life that kind of spearheaded, okay, now I want to go learn and take the next step and go in depth to learn how to treat animals?
Not really, actually. For being in the field, I've had pretty good luck with my personal pets.
Okay.
So like looking back, there wasn't, a situation where like I wish that I personally could have done more for one of my own animals.
That's awesome.
It was really just the science and medicine that intrigued me, and just the general love for animals. Like, oh, I get to help somebody's family member go home. Yeah. And I get to be a nerd while I'm doing it.
Yeah. I think one of the other things too is highlighting the difference between a regular vet and an emergency vet. What's the biggest difference between working in a regular veterinary clinic and an emergency veterinary clinic?
Just like when people go to the doctor, you need your annual checkup, blood work, exam, vaccines, all of that. You go to your primary care.
Yeah.
Minor issues, you go to your primary care. But if you have an emergency, you go to the hospital, and that's sort of the major difference. So at an emergency clinic, like, we wouldn't provide vaccines, generally don't treat ear infections or chronic problems.
Got it.
We're here for something that happened just now, like major traumas, or maybe the pet got into something that they weren't supposed to, something that can't wait for your regular primary care physician.
Yeah. I mean, those you can't call when an emergency happens. It's nice to have people like you here waiting to help us.
I mean, we're all ready to go.
Yeah. Well, day in a life. Walk us through a typical day for you in the emergency hospital, or night, I should say.
Yeah, I'm a creature of the night. I primarily worked graveyards for the majority of my career, which is when a lot of emergencies happen. People get home from work, they've found that, Fluffy is not eating, or they come home to, vomit or diarrhea, or, sometimes blood all over the place where it shouldn't have been, or, they find a chewed up prescription bottle, or, or Fluffy's not even home because they escaped out of the backyard,
Sure.
and then they find it and it had been like hit by a car or something.
Oh, yeah.
So, my day usually starts pretty slow.
Hmm.
And then, we get that rush, like, again, after people get home. So I'd say from like 6 p.m. to midnight is
Yeah.
when we see a good majority of our cases.
Okay.
Um, and then we have to triage them and see who is stable and can wait and who needs to be seen right now. Some of them end up needing emergency procedures.
Hmm.
Some of them, thankfully, just need some meds and get to go home.
Best case scenario.
Best case scenario,
Yeah.
always.
Yeah. Um, what are some of the most heartwarming cases you've experienced? And on the flip side, what has been one of the toughest moments?
Um, the heartwarming cases. Several months ago, we had a dog come in that their family's house caught on fire,
Oh,
and the dog alerted the fire department basically that the mom was still in the house. The dog wouldn't come out, so the dog kept running like back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, and unfortunately had burns
mm,
and a lot of damage to her lungs because of all of the smoke inhalation.
oh,
So these people lost their home.
mm,
Thankfully, they didn't lose any family members, but we were able to treat that pet, and we did it at no cost to the owners.
wow.
And that felt really good because a lot of
Yeah.
times people think that we just do this for the money, and let me tell you, we don't make enough
Yeah.
to be in it for the money.
Mm,
Um, yeah, but our hospital took on the case, um, and she needed a couple of days of oxygen and some rest, and we were able to get her home.
wow, that's an amazing story. And, really shout out to you and your colleagues and the hospital that you worked at to really provide that support that those people desperately needed at the time.
Yeah.
Do you care to share what hospital that was?
It was a veterinary specialty hospital in Roseville.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the pet's female owner ended up in the hospital.
Oh,
And so the last thing that this family needed to worry about was, is their dog going to be okay?
yeah.
You never want to have to make that choice.
Yeah.
They're trying to figure out a place to live, and what their next step is, plus taking care of mom in the
Mm,
hospital. And
that sounds so taxing.
yeah,
Yeah. Well, shout out to you and Animal Hospital in Roseville. Thank you guys for all you do. That's a great story.
it
And
was really amazing to be a part of it.
yeah, yeah. I mean, do you have that often where you get such a rush from that fulfillment of actually helping people and their pets?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's why we do it, right? Just to get the pets home to their families, um, makes all of the other stuff worthwhile.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're saving lives.
Yeah.
Wow. We need a ER show. We need a veterinary ER show. Starring Heather. Starring Heather.
That would be crazy.
Awesome, awesome. Um, so it must take a lot of communication and collaboration in order to um, triage, treat, and get that pet home safely. How important is communication between the techs, the vets, and even the parents during a crisis?
Oh, it's very important. Veterinary medicine is definitely a team sport.
Hmm.
You should have somebody that is sort of directing, like a coach,
Okay.
and then everyone else should have a job, and everyone should be talking to each other to get all of the things done in the best order for the pets that are being seen,
Yeah.
and for the owners, because their anxiety level is always super high
Yeah.
because their family's in the hospital. So including them in the plan, giving them updates, explaining what is happening is all very important.
Yeah. Yeah. That it's so amazing. I mean, what you just explained was also a code and everybody taking their parts. You know, you
Yeah.
have the note taker, you have the compressioner, you have the catheter placer, you have the
Yeah.
breather. I
Everyone
mean,
has a job.
yeah, yeah. I love that feeling of collaborating with a team too, and it can be so uniting to. I mean, the rate of return is not high once we do a code, but when you go through that with individuals that you may or may not know, it's almost like I can't explain the high
Yeah.
that you get and the collaboration and trust that you build with these people. And I think that's something that I really enjoy about the veterinary world, is that more or less we go through some traumatic things and we're all bonded,
Yeah.
you know, and whether it be, you know, for good reasons or bad reasons, it's a close knit circle.
It is. You know, there's a lot of trauma there, and we get through it with sarcasm and dark humor.
Yeah.
And
Well,
snacks.
and snacks. You
Snacks.
gotta have the
Gotta have
snacks.
snacks.
All hospitals need snacks. What's the biggest misconception people have about your job?
Honestly, I think that it's that we don't care about the humans involved, and that we do this for the money.
Yeah.
Um, you know, unfortunately, medicine in general costs a lot of money to provide, and you know, pet insurance doesn't work like human insurance does. So sometimes, you know, people have to choose, you know, whether they can take their dog to surgery, or you know, to pay, you know, their mortgage on their house. And a lot of times I feel like they 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 take it out on us.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that's the biggest misconception, is that we only care about the money, which is the opposite of why anyone does this.
Sure. I can attest to that as well. Yeah. Um, where do you see yourself going next in the field? Any dreams, goals, or specializations that you're chasing?
Um, I know I've been doing this for so long. Honestly, I've done most of the things that I've wanted to do. Um,
I mean, you did share that you worked at a very special place, and I think everybody should know that. Go ahead, tell the.
yeah, I've worked at UC Davis, which in California is meant to be like gold standard
Yeah.
medicine, and to be honest, it was too political for me.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I mean, all that aside, I mean, it's amazing to see you reach the goals and heights that you have in the veterinary field, and be able to more or less nerd out and really apply your skill sets and your superpower to help and save our furry family members. Um, well, I just appreciate you coming on, and
Yeah,
I
of course.
really thank you for taking the time and just talking to us. Um, Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have more interviews like this where we highlight these heroes. Our veterinary technician world needs this. So if you hear me coming, Ryan from Athletic Conceptual Training, please take a look at the videos that we have coming. We have more interviews lined up, and we really want to speak to each and every one of you, because you are all heroes, and we want nothing more than to see you guys win. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
All right. This is Athletic Conceptual Training. Thanks for joining us.